The government has already rejected a key recommendation from its Welfare Advisory Group to immediately raise benefits by up to 47%, for now at least. The advisory group's long-awaited report makes more than 40 recommendations, including 4 it says should be adopted right away. The rise in benefit levels was one of them. It also recommends all the changes, which could cost an extra $5.2 billion a year, be brought in within 2 years. So far, the government has announced an extra 263 frontline MSD staff and that it will ditch sanctions against mainly female beneficiaries who won't name their child's father. It will also raise the amount of money beneficiaries can earn before their benefit is docked. I asked Social Development Minister Carmel Sepuloni if Labor wants to be a fair, kind and transformational government, why not adopt all the report's recommendations?
Even the expert advisory group have pointed out on numerous occasions throughout the report that the system is very complex. You move something over here, it has an impact over there. So we need to make sure that any changes we make are well considered and that we do end up ensuring that New Zealanders are better off.
So it made, among the more than 40 recommendations, there was about 4 it said it believes should be implemented immediately. No sooner had the report been released and you immediately ruled out one of those key recommendations, which was raising benefits up to 47%. Why did you do that?
Look, Lisa, let's keep it in perspective here. We received the report 9 weeks ago and have just gone public with it. And we've made very clear that we need to have 2 phases here. The first phase is what we can do immediately. The second phase is actually sorting out a very well thought through plan and how we can actually implement some of the other recommendations.
So why not just leave it on the table in the meantime? Why not rule it out? Why rule it out like you did?
Why not
leave it on the table? Yeah.
Because we're ruling it out for this budget, Lisa. 9 weeks ago is when we received that report, keeping in mind that consideration with regard to budget goes back to October last year. So it's ruled out for this budget.
But it wouldn't be a surprise to you that raising benefits was probably one of the things that would be recommended, given on the campaign trail, the plight of beneficiaries is one that you refer to often and the lack of income that they had. So you could have taken it into account, this budget.
We want to do it right, Lisa, and any changes that we make have to be well considered. When you make a change like that, you also have to take into consideration other parts of the system, things like accommodation supplement, temporary additional support, all the other things that potentially would have to move that you need to give some consideration to. So it's not easy to move that quickly on benefit increases.
So what time frame do you give that? If not immediately, when could you see that happening in the foreseeable future? Next budget?
Well, like I said today, this is a 2-phased approach. It's what can we do immediately and also with that first phase, taking stock of what we already have done or are doing that is in line with the report. But the second phase is thinking through a plan and agreeing on a plan with our coalition and our confidence and supply partners for the next 3 to 5 years, because this is big. What they have proposed here
You might not be here in 5 years, though, so this is your chance to be transformational now. So can you give any kind of undertaking that raising benefits will be something that you will bid for in the next budget round?
We're going to be looking at all those recommendations really carefully. Can I just say, Lisa, though, transformational, absolutely, that's the type of government we want to be. But being transformational also means making sure that the changes we make are enduring. And so that takes a little bit more of a think through.
But the national government, OK, they were the first government in 40 years to raise benefit levels. Surely you want to at least equal that achievement, a Labor government.
Then they were lost, Lisa, because there was no consideration for the wider welfare system. And so there was an immediate benefit, yes, to those families, but our welfare system was not fixed in any way. And there was no future-proofing any of those benefits for anyone else that was going to come into the welfare system. And so we need to think about that to ensure that we're future-proofing with regards to the decisions that we make as well.
Is this principally a budget issue? Because it would cost $5.2 billion in additional funding a year. That is a big wodge of money. Are you constrained by money?
Look, the report is really clear about us needing to take a cross-sector approach to this, and I absolutely endorse that. This is not just about MSD. This is about well-being across government with regards to the sectors and serving the people that we are there to serve.
Is money stopping you doing it all in one go?
No, I want to see what happens from this report.
Money's not a barrier.
I want to see, Lisa, changes in the health system. system, and that's reinforced in the report as well. Housing has to be addressed. That's reinforced in the report as well. So this is not purely an MSD exercise. This is a cross-government exercise, and it's about the well-being of New Zealanders.
I understand that totally, but I would just like a really straightforward answer from you. Is the cost of this a barrier to implementing it in the next two budgets?
There are cost considerations for any government, and we are thinking holistically about the well-being of New Zealanders.
So cost is
I'm not
an issue
going
for
to
you.
say that all of the money needs to be directed towards MSD. I'm saying that as a government, we're considering the overall well-being of New Zealanders. And so I, as the Minister for Social Development, have a vested interest, and I will be watching carefully the investment that's made in the health sector and the housing sector as well, because it's about how we better serve the people that we're here to serve.
Do you need to raise your debt cap in order to achieve this?
Look, Lisa, I'm not going to get into a budget discussion because I'm not the Minister of Finance.
I know, but you're after some of his money, aren't you? So speaking of the Minister of Finance, can we expect any more for welfare in terms of additional spending in this budget coming up, other than what you've announced today?
I'm not going to preempt what might be in the budget today. I announced 3 pre-budget announcements.
Let me put it another way. Have you bid for anything else? Don't tell us whether you got the money, but did you bid for more than what you've announced?
I will tell you now, just wait and see when the budget is announced.
Okay, so where does tackling inequality and child poverty sit on your list of priorities?
It's an absolute priority for this government.
So number one?
It is child poverty reduction is something that our Prime Minister has taken on board as something that she is actually leading. And so clearly that is a priority for this government.
Okay, because this report tells us that if you do what they recommend, you could raise 40% of the children in poor households out of poverty, 30% of working adults in poverty out of poverty. Why would you not grab that opportunity with both hands and run with it?
I think, Lisa, you're oversimplifying what was a very complex report that was put before, which is a very complex report and very fulsome report that was put to us. There was also a very substantial section on things like housing, and so all of those things need to be taken into consideration when we're looking at ensuring that we are looking at the well-being of New Zealanders.
So Labor lost out on capital gains. If you don't embrace this report in its fullness, what is left for a government that is promising transformational change?
Transformational change, Lisa, has to be done in a considered way. And as I said to you earlier, I've said, publicly today, this government has committed to an overall haul of the welfare system. But we are attempting to fix decades of damage that's been done in the welfare system and policies that have been implemented. And if the expectation is that we can do that 9 weeks after we've received the report, then I think that's a little bit unrealistic.
No, but the report does recommend that you do it within 2 years. Can you achieve it in 2 years? Because they think you can.
Well, Lisa, we've got phase 2 of our plan to flesh out, and I'm looking forward to working with our coalition partner and with our confidence and supply partner to be able to do that.
So no commitment to achieve these goals within 2 years?
I'm not going to preempt what will be part of phase 2. All I can say is that we've been provided with an exceptional report, a very fulsome analysis of our welfare system, what does work, what doesn't work. Also some limitations in there that they've stated themselves with regards to not necessarily having the time to work out where there may be interactions with other parts of the system. And so those are the types of things that we need to look at now.
Okay, so you've mentioned your confidence and supply partner and your coalition partner. Are you all on the same page with this?
Absolutely.
You sure?
Absolutely.
And that was the Minister Carmel Sepuloni.